Hey,
5
Joy,
minutes.
can you believe how much material has been covered in 45 minutes?
Yes, whole book and additional one.
Can you believe when people are spending days, weeks, and months trying to teach people who don't want to sell how to sell? And if those people go out about the time they do their first 2 presentations or whatever, person says no, they're done. They can't handle rejection.
Yeah, usually people are just trying to present all that napkin presentation to others. Yes, for example, teaching them first napkin presentation, second napkin, third, fourth, and so on. And this is not the way of doing this. Yes.
See, right now with technology, you don't have to teach anybody anything. Just let us do it for you. Just have them listen to the Zoom training. Get the recording and they can listen to it while they're commuting. And it's too easy. But anyway, do you have any questions?
Is the app available? Here is the question from Ed.
I think I answered that already.
Yes.
We're working on it. Should be within a month. We should have it in English.
Mm-hmm. Any other question? Please, Doug, unmute yourself and just ask, okay?
All right, Don, I thank you very much. I've enjoyed your system book. I read it 3 or 4 times now. I enjoyed the story about how you and Nancy took the trip around the world with the chart house. And I also looked up Jimmy the Butcher's Eric Worre interview. Thought came to me with that. You traveled with your sons until Jimmy the Butcher said it. His goal was to, I think he said he had 6 kids and 20 plus grandchildren. His goal is to get all of his kids and all of his grandchildren in network marketing. Yeah. Do you have your sons in network marketing? And when you and Nancy when she was still around, did you work together as a team or individually?
They're both in networking now, and I'm working on helping them build an organization. They're both professional tennis pros, teachers, okay? And if you want to look up Jessica Failla, that's my granddaughter, my son Greg, his daughter, okay? Now, what I'm going to explain to you now all goes back to owning your life. Because when people really understand what that means, man, they really get excited about what we're doing here. So when our 2 boys were growing up, I used to take an hour one way during the week, one way an hour, 5 days a week, getting them through their tennis lessons, okay? And they practice and so forth. Both my boys, when they were ready for college, they both got college scholarships. Greg went to the University of Southern California. Greg ended up marrying Katrina, who was on a tennis scholarship in a college in Texas, and she's also a teaching pro. They started Jessica Failla, again, check her out on Google, when she was 5 years old. Okay, when she got ready to go to college, okay, she started off with 2 years at USC, University of Southern California, and that was $62,000 a year was a scholarship. Now you'll kind of get a kick out of this one, but none of my kids ever dated when they were in high school because they're so busy doing sports and working out and stuff. They never dated. So when Jessica went to college, I told her that when she goes out on a date, if that guy tries to tell you that having sex is cross training for your tennis, don't believe him, okay? Well, she never forgot that. It was really, really funny. So here she goes to USC, and the first time she goes on a date with this baseball player, he thought he was gonna have sex on the first night, okay? Well, she's a strong Christian gal, and she couldn't handle USC because everybody was sleeping with everybody. So she got permission to leave. So she ended up going back to Ohio State to check that out because they had the #1 woman tennis player in America at that college. And she figured, well, being there to work out with someone like that would be good. Well, that gal ended up turning pro. And so Jessica decided to go to Pepperdine. Well, the guy that escorted her around the campus when she was back at Ohio State, he's a tennis pro now, and that became a 3-year internet romance. And they're scheduled to get married at, if you want to look up failavilla.com, at my private resort this coming December. So we're excited about that. Now catch this. Pepperdine was $72,000 a year. She was injured in her junior year, could not play. So she got another year of eligibility. She got a master's degree in the law school in dispute resolution, and that was $92,000. And that was done on the internet. Her classes were in the evening on the internet and stuff, so it didn't interfere with her tennis. Then COVID hit, the whole year was canceled. She got another year. So another year was $92,000. So she got like close to $500,000 in scholarship. Why? Because I own my life. If I didn't own my life, I couldn't have got my boys to where they were, and they own their life. They have time, money, and health to be able to travel, because when you get started in tennis, you got to travel, and it's not cheap. So that's Jessica. Okay, now take a look at what happened to Joel. He's my grandson. He just turned 17 recently. Okay, about a week before he turned 17, he has his pilot's license. Okay, how many 17-year-olds do you know have a pilot's license? It costs like $75 to $100 an hour for the lesson. You have to rent a plane is $120 an hour. And you get so many hours, and finally you don't need the instructor anymore, but you still have to rent a plane, okay? So we bought him his own airplane, okay? He got a screaming good deal on the plane. It only had 70 hours on it. And the guy that sold it to him, he bought it for 120, sold it to Joel for 70. So his next step is to get to 300 hours. Well, can you imagine if you had to pay $120 an hour for 300 hours? Now he puts in $20 and he goes around. I think he was flying 7 hours yesterday. He took 3 different people up on little joy rides around. So again, because we owned our life, we could afford to do that for him. Josh, now that's his older brother. When he went to college for 1 year, I encouraged him to quit because he wanted to be a professional photographer. Well, nothing he would have taken in that college would have helped him do that. By the time he was 21, he was making $15,000 a month. Now, just recently, he's 22 now. Just recently, he took a $900 course that was like 3,000 people took the course. It was on the internet. The top cinema photographer in the world had the course. And at the end of the course, they everybody had to do a 5-minute film shoot and edit it and so forth. And it was a little contest. Josh won it over the 3,000 people. And because he won it, he's getting an $8,000 camera. And the guy was going to be taking him like to Dubai on a film shoot. But he just called him last week and said, would you mind, and that was just, he wouldn't be making any money. He would, he'd just be there with the film shoot, be a good experience and so forth. But anyway, he just called him last week and said, would you mind not going to Dubai and going on a film shoot to a military base with me in Italy? So now they're going to pay him like $2,500 to go along on the film shoot. And the guy wants him to be his assistant. All because we owned our life. Now, how did owning our life help out? Because when he started being a photographer, we bought him his own drone. And with the drone, you get a GoPro camera. Can you imagine the shots you can take? Because he's into mountain biking also. When you can take a drone and follow someone down on a mountain bike trail, filming them, and someone that's on a parachute that's flying around, you're flying right behind the parachute, filming them. He had so much experience, in filming and editing. When he hit that contest, it was a slam dunk for him. Now, the guy that did the course, he'd like Josh to be his assistant, but I don't think Josh's going to do it because he likes to be independent. He's got so much work and so many people want him. It's just incredible. Again, because we owned our life. So that's what owning your life means. And just, you'll be interested in this, Doug, because you like my system book so well. Nancy and I have been on 92 cruises. So if anybody ever wants to know anything about cruising, I'm your man, I can tell you, okay? Well, one of my favorite cruises, we spent a week in Beijing, took a taxi to the port, took a 16-day cruise to Singapore, and ended up spending a week in Singapore. Now, on the 16-day cruise, we were in a foreign country every other day. We started off in Japan, then we went to Korea, Vietnam, all around, ended up in Singapore. Well, on the cruise, every other day we were at sea. So the days we were at sea, after breakfast, we found a quiet place on the cruise ship, and that's where we wrote the system book while we were on that cruise ship. Questions?
All great stories. I'm just curious, because you own your life, I'm just getting started. Do I sign my wife up like you did Nancy for the chart house so we duplicate quicker?
The reason I can't answer that question for you, and don't tell me what company you're in, because we don't talk about or even mention the names of any companies. But if you want to get on a private call with me sometime, I'll be happy to answer that for you.
And then the second question, real quick, I don't want to take everybody's time.
All the marketing plans, there's 2,000 companies, they all have different marketing plans. So in some cases, signing your wife up would be good. Some companies won't even let you do it. Yeah, okay, you got it.
I understand. I'm starting my upline, who I signed up with, is selling. They're not duplicating, and so anytime I get them on the phone, they start selling. So I'm avoiding having them even talk to my customer. The other thing is, not my customer, my
I understand
who I'm sponsoring. So not getting my upline involved and filtering the company, because they barrage us with marketing, new product, conferences.
Hey, they'll be lucky to stay in business.
So that's where I want to get them in and drive. How do I keep them from just being distracted with the upline? And I actually had in my upline call somebody without me even knowing about it. How can I help you? And then within 15 minutes, one guy signing up, he said, Doug, I got like 6 emails. What am I supposed to do? I said, just delete them all. At least he asked me. The other people are deep diving. They want to look under the hood.
Well, we'll have a private conversation. I can help you, but it's just, like I say, all these companies are different,
Okay,
just
that's fair enough.
Hard for me to recommend something,
Thank you. Always enjoy it.
There is some question.
I'll give you an example. Let me put this out there. I think it's good to understand, because when I say that all the companies are going down, I mean, I don't think we have anybody in Amway on this call, but let me tell you, they're going down, okay? They got to be a $7 billion company and they're going down. Now, I know I lived the history of the industry. They started off by, note the word, recruiting 500 people to sell their products. That whole company was built from 5 of those 500, okay? And they got to be a $7 billion company, biggest company ever, by recruiting people to sell, which nowadays doesn't work, period, okay? It didn't work then either. That's why network marketing has such a bad name all over the world, because everybody knows people that were in Amway that didn't make it. And they didn't make it because they don't like to sell, okay? But the reason they made it is they were the first company to go into all the different countries. There was no other opportunity for people to make extra money. That was it, period. So that's how they got so big. Now, how do I know they're going down? About 4 or 5 months ago, I heard that they laid off 900 people in their factory that make their products. Okay, why would you do that if you weren't going down? Okay, question.
Don, there is a question on chat. I think it's a very good question. So probably maybe you can add this question to the app, because it's from Danielle. how we can explain the system our lives if we are not yet in possession of our own.
Wait a minute, what's the last part of it?
If we are not yet in own, if we will not have our own life, yes? We are not having our own life.
Well, the thing is that they don't still understand. You don't have to explain anything. You have them go to the Zoom training. We'll explain it for you. Does that make sense? People, do you got that?
I guess that is very important that we can use you as a universal sponsor to teach anybody, yes?
Hey, it's not just me. Like you have, when you have the app, it's like you have myself, you have Adriana, if you're in Poland, of course, because she'll be on the app. And then, of course, we'll have a German person on the app there. And you've got, Jeff Grimaldi. You've got the three of us, and you got Dr. Steve Hines. Now, Dr. Steve Hines, he's not on the original app, but he's going to be on the new upgraded app. I forgot to tell you about him. He's a retired eye surgeon. He had 2 clinics, about 1,200 people working for him. And the guy's a multimillionaire, sold his clinics and been in networking about 30 years. He's got the fastest growing organization with his company using, our training and so forth. And the guy is, I'm telling you, if you have a doctor, dentist, lawyer, professional person, if they listen to this guy for 3 to 4 minutes, if they don't join your program, there's something wrong with them, because this guy is really, really good. Okay. So, there you go. You got another person working for you. So you got a whole bunch of people in the palm of your hand. You can put us to work anytime you want, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just get them the link to the training and let them watch it. Don't try to explain everything I explained to you today, because that's not going to work. Because see, what'll happen if you do that, then they're going to think that that's what they have to do. Remember I said we teach people not to talk? So you start explaining all this stuff to people that thinks that's what they got to do. And they said, well, I couldn't begin to do what you're doing, and you're done. But they can tell someone, well, can I get you a link? And you can listen to it while you're driving around in your car. Anybody can do this.
So also in the situation when we are talking with some kind of our friends, and they are starting to going deep in what we are told them, just we have to be focused to not talk to them too much, yes, and just let them know about the trainings or send them the recordings, and this is it, yes, without any more explanation, because it will really hurt us.
You can really break it down really simple. The number one word in network marketing is understand, okay? Because 100% of the people don't understand it. You already went over that. And then followed by duplication. Because if you don't duplicate, you're never going to make it. And the napkin presentation 4, so they understand about putting up the billing on a foundation, and it's got to be deep and so forth. And then beyond that, understanding, that we have an app now that does all the talking for you. All, not some, but all. Now, obviously, when you get through what we're teaching you, you know how to drive. See, that's the thing. You got 2 things. You got the vehicle, and you need to know how to drive it. But no company out there is teaching their people how to drive it. Like Doug was saying, their company, they got new products coming out all the time, like all the companies do. And that's all they're doing, is talking about their company, their products, their marketing plan. They never spend any time teaching people about duplication. That's the key, really the key.
All right. And how would you explain to someone that the own your life approach is not the same as business approach?
As a business approach?
Yes. How would you explain that to someone that is 2 different approaches? On your life is not the same as business.
Well, see, the business approach, you got 3 basic approaches. You got the product approach, which is the slowest way possible. Then you got the business approach, which is a little bit better than that. Then you have the lifestyle approach, which is owning your life, okay? Now, see, the reason why business approach is, I don't like it at all, because what do most people think of when they hear the word business? They think of brick and mortar, putting up a building, they think of employees, payroll, inventories, all this kind of stuff, you know, that's what we call overhead. Well, see, in network marketing, the only overhead you had was you had to make a purchase of a product each month to get paid. Okay, now you're gonna have another overhead. You're gonna have $20 a month for the app, okay? But you got to understand that's a business write-off too. But you show me any business in the world where you can spend $20 a month and make millions, okay? So to give you an example, I already told you I'll do 150 million in volume this year. The only product that I've handled out of all of that 150 million is what I've ordered for myself. All these people get checks, they get paid. I don't pay them, the company pays them, okay? Traditional businesses don't have that. So if you think about it, I mean, I don't even have a secretary. How many businesses do 150 million a year and don't have a secretary, okay? That's the difference. You want to go hire a bunch of people and spend like we did, before I got into network marketing, you know, and I got into network marketing, you know, we teach you make a friend meet their friends. Well, I had an International House Pancakes for 4 years, and this person that was a regular customer became a friend, okay? So he invited me to a hotel meeting. So that's how I got started, you know, in network marketing. Make a friend meet their friends.
Do you think that it is necessary to meet together with your downline every week?
No, not now with what we have with the tools and stuff, because they can get a review by just watching the Zoom training again, or go through the app again, you know, periodically. I think it's good. I think it's good to meet with them, but when you say meet with them, you don't physically meet with them, because those days are gone. I mean, the days of starting out, you know, working with your neighbors or your neighborhood, technology, that's surpassed. I mean, you know, I've got people in probably 15 different countries now in my downline, you know? So I don't even, in fact, I prefer not to have any neighbors in my business, because they be coming over all the time. I don't need that.
But wouldn't it be worthy if we will meet on Zooms, for example, every week?
Perfect. Well, perfect. And like we're doing right now, you know, we have this thing every Thursday, you know, and so forth. But then people, they don't have to be every Thursday because they got the recordings and so forth. So that can supplement it. But it is good because, like in the Q&A section here, we're always getting something different to talk about. We're always learning something new. I think that's good, but you know, you just got to be careful about setting up something that's a regiment for people.
Okay. Also, I feel that the Own Your Life approach talks more about the goal instead of the way, just as the business approach does. It's
What was the first part? More about the...
Also, I feel that the Own Your Life approach talks more about the goal instead of the way. Goal.
What am I can rephrase it. Sorry.
Rephrase it.
Yeah, that was regarding the point that it's easier to talk about the Own Your Life lifestyle approach than about the business approach, because when talking about lifestyle, it's about how I want my life to be. And the business is kind of a tool to have at the end a life as I want it to be. So talking just about the end vision, owning your life, is way easier in my eyes. It's so much easier than talking about, oh, you need to build a business and then earn money and then build, and then you have the life you want. And so we just directly jump at the end and say, this is the vision, this is owning your life. And it's yeah.
Good, that's very good. And another thing too, you should know this, that when you use the own your life approach, it's like putting a little stone in a person's shoe. See, now everybody can relate to having a little stone in their shoe, but they never do anything about it. You know, they just kind of deal with it. But see, the little stone we put in the shoe has the ability to grow. Kid comes home and says, Mom, Dad, can you go to my football, baseball, basketball game, whatever? And you say, sorry, son, but I've got to go to my job. The stone just grew. You get stuck in traffic, you get to work late, your boss gets on your case, the stone just grew. All kinds of things that can make the stone grow. I actually get people virtually days, weeks, months, and years from the time using that approach that call up and say, Don, are you still in that program? Now, that is a good segue into what I was going to tell you about anyway. See, I believe right now is the best time in the history of network marketing to get started building business. And it has to do with inflation. Now, why is inflation so big for network marketing? How many seniors do you know who may be like 5 or 6 years away from retiring? Guess what, folks? They're all selling their 401ks and they're losing money on the stock market, selling it to be able to buy groceries and gas. They're not going to have, they already know they're not going to have the money to have the kind of retirement they wanted to have. I mean, it was on the news a couple of days ago. I heard them talking about it, and they said people are going to be working until they're 92. And I don't go quite to that extreme. I say, well, all these people, you know, when they retire and instead of living the good life, they can't all be greeters at Walmart, you know? So can you imagine this? If you're talking to someone 5 or 6 years away from retirement, and you say to that person, if I could show you how you could have an extra $2,000 to $5,000 a month coming to you when you retire, would you be willing to look at a presentation that will not take more than 1 minute? What are they going to say? Unless they're totally stupid, okay? They'll say, well, tell me, what is it? Well, see, what I'm going to tell you now wouldn't have worked 5, 10 years ago, because people back then, older people, they weren't on the internet. They weren't on Facebook, but they are now. So all you do is you say to them, look at, how long would it take you to find 10 people that are in your situation, they're going to be retiring in 5, 6 years and so forth, that aren't going to have the money to do it? And they're going to say about as long as it'll take me to get on my Facebook. So I'll guarantee you, you sign up 10 people and they get active, and they have 10 friends too, that the same situation. Now it goes to 100. Go to the third level, you got 1,000. Now you're making over $2,000 a month with virtually any company out there. You go to the next level, now you're up to 5,000 a month. You got still got almost 5 years to do that before you retire. And you don't have to sell. I mean, that's the thing that's, you know, it's huge. It's a huge market.
I've got another question, Don. When somebody asks you, what's your definition of network marketing? What do you answer them?
Well, I tell them it's a method, a way of moving merchandise that most people confuse with sales. So then some people, I might give an example, like, you know, a typical store, okay? You know, products are manufactured. They go to a jobber, a wholesaler, a retailer, and a customer, okay? Well, what happens in network marketing, they go from the manufacturer right to the customer. So by eliminating those 3 steps in there, all that money there is now put into a marketing plan, and that's how people make money. How many of you are in America that see the My Pillow ad on TV? Okay. Now look what he did. Because the guy is a supporter of Donald Trump, he was in all these stores all over America and so forth, and that these Democrat stores, they booted him out of his stores, okay? So what did he do? You can get his products now. He's spending a lot of money advertising, okay? That's what's happening, is all those things in between that people are getting paid. You know, you buy one of anything from him, now you get the second one free. I mean, everything is so cheap because he's taken all that money that stores would have made and given that to the customers. That's kind of where the difference is. That's almost, only he is not set up to pay people to instead of paying people to do it, he's advertising. Did that do it for you, Britta?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
What should we do with those people who are just talking with us and in fact they just want to buy some products from us, not joining our MLM system?
Let them do it. Just don't waste your time with them. Well, if you read your book, then you know you've got the gold ship, the silver ship, and the empty ship. And the people who don't understand what's going on, they seem to want to spend all their time with the empty ship to help them because they really need the help. Okay. Well, the gold ships, they don't need the help. They deserve the help. That's who you work with. And the big difference there, the gold ships, man, they could be calling you 2-3 times a day with simple little questions and you're just excited all the time. You call them. If they don't answer the phone, they'll call you right back and so forth. The silvers, they don't call you very often, but you call them, they will return the phone call. The empties, you might not even call them because they don't even return the phone calls. So their ship's sinking, you're gonna sink with it. But that presentation had to do with rejection because you picture yourself on the dock launching these ships. Well, when a ship sinks out there, you're still on the dock. It doesn't hurt you. So people always seem to think that getting rejected is going to hurt them some way.
I think it's also very important to maybe answer for that question about when somebody is asking you what is your business in MLM. That means what are the products, where is the company, and you answer, for example, for those people like that, do you want to earn a little money or huge money? Yes.
Yeah, something like that. Sure. If you're looking at wanting to sponsor the person, get them right off the idea. They're going to have to sell some. Can you start talking about your products first? You're done. You might as well forget it. Not going to work. I think it's important to know too, and that people ask what my number one recommendation is for a new person starting, and I tell them to get a job. Okay, because there isn't a company in the world where you can start off from day one and make enough money to pay your mortgage, your car payment, your credit cards, put braces on your kids' teeth, and put food on the table, buy your gas. You can't do it. Okay, so there's a couple things here. Exception. Now the job, I tell people they don't have to like it because they have a light at the end of the tunnel. They have a way out. Where most people they don't have a way out. Okay, the two exceptions to getting the job is if you have a spouse that can support the family while you're going back to doing the foundation. Because until you get the foundation bill, you're not going to start making a lot of money. Okay, Nancy supported our family for 9 years. Okay, now the reason it took 9 years because back then we didn't have any of these tools and we were just learning all this stuff. Okay, the other exception would be if you have enough money in the bank to live uncomfortably for 1 or 2 years while you're doing the foundation. Because remember, when you're getting started, it's a very hard time because remember, your initial presentation is only 1 minute. Okay, so what are you going to do the rest of the day? So you don't want to try to get too many people going all at the same time because that's not going to work. But you have to have a way of supporting yourself while you're doing the foundation. These people that, trying to get you to, think you're going to be making a lot of money in, 3-4 months, run the other way. It doesn't work. You've heard me say this before. It's the biggest industry in the world where the blind are leading the blind. People that don't have a clue are out trying to teach other people how to do it. I mean, like you listen to a meeting coming from your company and you have somebody up there telling the new people to make a list of 100 names. That's not network marketing, folks. That's what sales managers tell salespeople to do. Why do you need 100 names to sponsor one person? It starts with one. And then you help them start duplicating in the process of doing that, you get one more. I mean, it's real simple. If a person really feels like they need a list of names, I tell them, make a list of 5 names of 5 of your friends that you would like to see own their life so they could go on a cruise with you in a year. That's about it. So I think we covered some good ground today, Adriana.
Yeah, I would like to ask you more. How will I know that after reading the book, someone really understood how to do MLM, or how after listening your recording? What are the signs that he really understands?
Well, you have to understand that, as time goes on, things have evolved. Like we've evolved away from sizzle sessions, okay? Now, the book basically is incredible, right? But I would highly recommend before reading the book, you'd have a person listen to the 30-minute Zoom training. So then they really get it in their head that, we're not looking for people to sell. It has nothing to do with selling. It's, something anybody can do. If they do the Zoom training before reading the book, they're going to understand the book a lot better. In fact, I had a publisher in Poland one time tell me he read the book 10 times. And every time he read it, he learned something new. Because what's happening, you're reading at a different level. Just like, for example, you come hear the Zoom training one time, you're not going to get it 100%. I'll guarantee you that. But you go out between now and next week, and you're talking to someone, and they say, "Oh, I don't like to sell," or they say, "I don't have time," and it'll be in your head. Oh, that's what Don said. Then you come back and listen to it again, and it really sinks in. So that's pretty much what we're talking about here. I definitely have them do the Zoom training.
So
We have to do the Zoom training before we have them get to the app and see the first 5 chapters. That's more than enough to get them started. More than enough.
But is it possible that, for example, after one Zoom, somebody really understand the basic basis of that system or not?
Adriana, you got to understand the level of people listening to the Zoom training. Some of them have never been in network marketing. Some of them have been in business in network marketing 20 years, 25 years. And they listen to this thing and they finally say, geez, I've been doing this thing wrong all these years. They finally understand it. So it depends on the person, where they're at when they listen to it, whether they're going to get it the first time or maybe have to listen to it a couple of times.
Okay, so it is not good if somebody, for example, understand only a part of that, all marketing, how to do, and after that he is joining the company, and during the next days or weeks he is learning other parts of that system. Is it possible to do this in such a way, or he or she should know everything before he will join?
No, I'll give you an example. Our company has a lot of health products, okay, like a lot of your companies do. When I get ready to actually sign someone up to get them started, okay, I talk to them about overhead, and people know what overhead means. And remember, I'm not looking for people into health. So these people that I'm getting started, never been in a health company, never taken a health product. So I talk to them about overhead and explain that virtually all the companies, you have to purchase a certain number of products each month to qualify to get paid. It's different with all the companies, okay? So I help them pick out one product out of all the products we have. That's it, just one, okay? So they do it because they're covering their overhead, not because they want the product, because they want to own their life. So here's what happens. A person who's never taken a health product before that starts taking a good quality health product, in about a week to 10 days, they're going to come to you saying, boy, I don't know what's in that product, but I've never felt this good in so long. They're excited. Now, most companies have an auto ship program where they automatically send you the product same time each month. But let's say the person did not sign up for the auto ship, and let's say they forgot to order the product and they ran out of the product. The experience they have when they run out of the product is greater than the one they had when they went on the product. And that's why I've got people been with me for 25 years who are not building a business. We didn't have any of those tools and didn't even know what we were doing back then, but they order every month because they love the product. So now what happens when they get excited about the product now, a lot of companies have a catalog that will come with the product. If they don't have the catalog, all the products are on the internet, but before they had that experience, they wouldn't give it the time of day to look at that. So now that they've had the experience, they start looking at the catalog or on the internet, and they start seeing all these other different products. And they're saying, gee, I want to try this. I want to try that. I want to try that, and so forth. Before you know it, they're ordering 3 or 4 or 5 different other products from your company. Now note that they are selling themselves. You didn't have to sell them anything. If you sold them anything, was the opportunity to own their life. And once you get the foot in the door and they're excited about it, now remember, these people never been in health before. Now that they're into health now, once they get in, they're in.
Were there such a situation in your career in MLM that, for example, people that firstly bought product as a customers, then they convinced themselves to maybe make a business here, or this was very rare?
Adriana, it's a waste of time. That doesn't work.
But was there something like that possible?
No, totally impossible. Because once you sold them products, okay, first, okay, if they don't want to sell, remember, 95% of people don't want to sell. So they think they have to go out and sell products and so forth. It's just not going to work, period. Once you start talking about the vehicle before they know how to drive, you can't go back to those people. Very seldom will anybody ever. I mean, they can build a business that way, but it'll take you 20, 30, 40 years, because what you get is, well, I want to try the product. Okay. So they got to try the product first. They got to have an experience with the product. What we do, it doesn't matter, because they're just buying the product to handle the overhead to own their life. But just because, they like the product, now they have the experience, then they start looking at all the products. I mean, can you imagine, I don't know how many products you guys companies have, but, even if it was 20, 30, 50 products, you start talking to someone trying to get them to sell, they think they got to learn about all those products before they can even do anything. That's why it takes you forever to build a business. We start them with one. Once they get started, we get them on a second product. And then all of a sudden, they're picking things out of the catalog or on the internet they want to buy.
I just have such an impression that maybe when somebody is joining the company because of that product, because he needs that product for his health, then in fact, when he is, I don't know, wanted to do something, in fact, he is doing sales, yes, because he doesn't understand that the main part of MLM is building structures, not enjoying the product and sharing with the products all around.
No, I agree with you. And if you got someone that really absolutely needs a particular product that can help them, and you want to go ahead and get them started with it, that's fine. But then you have to sit down and just have a nice little talk with them, saying, hey, look, if you want to build a business, do you want to make a little bit of money or do you want to make a lot of money? Just like there, if you want to make a little money, go out and keep trying to talk to people about buying that product. And, if you can live long enough, you'll build a business. But if you want to make a lot of money, you need to understand network marketing.
Yeah.
You got to know how to drive. You can't drive the vehicle if you don't know how to drive. And that's understanding network marketing. Wait till you get the new book, man. The new book is just gonna be amazing. Jeff's doing an amazing job getting that ready to go.
And Ed is asking, how do I get access on that first 5 chapters from the 45-second book?
Well, your sponsor should have the app. And when you have the app, you can send out the 5 chapters. You can send out unlimited 5 chapters in both print and audio or both. That's how they get it.
Mhm.
I've got another question tonight. You used to say it all starts with one. So as soon as I have one person, I start sponsoring that one person and go deep, which is perfect for me because I'm a mother of a little daughter, and so my timing is very strict. How fast or after which time do you decide whether this person is serious in doing that or not? So when do I start looking for the second one, because the first might not really go into it?
Well, again, you know, the terminology that you're using, because when you totally understand, you know, what I'm teaching you here, that
I
anybody
don't
can do
look
it.
for somebody. Yeah.
You don't need to look for
Yeah,
anybody because
you're right.
everybody wants to own their life.
Yeah.
So you start going for the next person right after you start the first one.
Okay, because that's what I'm doing. I keep speaking about something that is currently in my mind. It's like,
Yeah.
that's
In the
what I'm doing
process-
now.
right.
Yeah.
In the process of helping the first one, someone will naturally come across
Okay.
your path that you're going to want to talk to. Just once you realize that everybody wants to own their life, once they understand it, and that anybody can do it because they don't have to sell, it suddenly becomes very, very easy to talk to people.
Yeah, completely got you. Thank you.
Rita, it's not forbidden to talk to anyone
Yeah.
every day. So if you even found someone, the first one, you can every day talk with another ones. Yes. And
Yeah,
don't
that's what I'm
worry
doing.
about that.
And I was a bit worried about, oh my God, if I have now 3 or 4 or 5 people who really want to start and like say, okay, let's talk once a week. I'm like, oh my God, I can't manage that.
Well, yeah, but see, you can manage it now because you don't have to talk much. Just have them
Right.
go on the Zoom, let the Zoom training do the talking, then the app training. I don't know, it's Adriana, have you given them the app, the old app? See, you can use, like, we still have a month before we're gonna have the new app, okay? And so you can start using the old app, but recognizing that they are 2 separate companies. And it's going to give you a choice of paying monthly or annually on the old app. And the old app, it's like $15 a month. The new app's going to be 20, but it's 100% more value. But then on the old app, if you pay for a year, you get 2 free months. Well, I caution people, don't do it, okay? Because when the new app comes out, cancel the old app because you're paying monthly, just cancel it and get it from the new app. But if you pay for the annual thinking you're saving 2 months, you can't cancel once you paid the annual. That's good to know that. But Adriana, sure, you want to chat them the link for the old app? So if you want to look at
Yes,
that.
sure. I will send you for a while.
No, everything, the new app is going to just be amazing. Totally amazing.
Jeff said that it is enough if you will talk with one person a day about owning your life. And it is enough to doing it correctly. Am I right?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah, well,
right?
hey, you're talking 1 minute, right? Well, another thing too, for what it's worth, if someone says no to me, that they're not interested,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm excited. Because, I mean, I don't have to deal with them, you know? Somebody that really doesn't want to do it, why do you want to deal with them anyway? How would you like to spend days, weeks, and months trying to get someone who doesn't want to sell how to sell, and they go out and do 1, 2 presentations and they quit? Well, I'd rather get to know after 1 minute than after 3 or 4 months. Not a problem, because you got too many people to talk to. It's their loss. not yours. See, and then you got to understand too, you got to have a lot of people that are gonna observe your lifestyle. Okay, I mean, especially women. You know, it's just amazing how a woman will even notice another woman if she's carrying a very expensive purse. Okay, yeah, compared to just some normal thing, and you start driving a new car, you get into a new house, you're going on vacation every month, all kinds of things there that these people actually observe that you're doing. Then they start getting interested.
But if we not have a new house, we not have a new car, how we can show them the lifestyle?
Yeah, there's an old saying in our industry: until you have your own story to tell, it's okay to tell someone else's story. Okay, so you can tell my story. I mean, I own my life. People always want to know how much money I make. I never tell anybody, but you can go and look at failavilla.com, and it's a private resort on 4.5 acres, has a hard tennis court, grass court, putting green, 2 pickleball courts, house with 2 master bedrooms and so forth. It's worth about $3 million. Don't have a mortgage. The house I'm living in now, about 6,200 square feet. I've got another house, same size next door. It's a duplex that's fully rented out. No mortgage on any of these. I mean, I can remember when we were first starting, Nancy in her presentation would always talk about how we used to have a pile of bills called the better luck next month pile. Okay. Well, another thing too, just I want you to take a look. When I'm out of the country, like I'm in Japan or somewhere, people are guessing my age at 62, 63. Okay. Well, I was 83 last December. People don't believe it. They just don't believe it. And I tell them there's 3 reasons why I'm not aging. I take good health products. I exercise every day. And the biggest one is I own my life. Now, how does own your life keep you young? Really simple, folks. When you own your life, you don't have stress. We don't have any bills. I mean, our electric bill, but we got solar, I mean, we lease a luxury car. I mean, minor things, But if you don't believe that stress will age you, look at the American presidents after they're in office for 6 months. Okay. I mean,
He's 79.
79. Well, if you hadn't heard the news yet today, but they had an interview, showed a previous interview this morning where he was telling people that he had his virus shots and 2 boosters, and that you get that done, you're not going to get the COVID, right? Well, today they announced he's got the COVID. So it's just crazy. Yeah, get rid of that guy. He's ruining our country. But anyway, no, stress. If you don't have stress, you just don't age. Like, just following up there, I go to bed at 11 o'clock at night, and I go to sleep at midnight. Now, the reason I stay up an extra hour there, well, in bed, I'm in bed. I watch the news because that's the wars going on in Ukraine, and it's morning over there, and I'd like to get an update. Watch the news and stuff. Without an alarm clock, I naturally wake up between 5:30 and 6 in the morning. I've never in my life ever taken a nap. Now, for me, a nap would be going back into bed and sleeping for a couple hours. Now, after dinner, I will doze watching TV. I'd be watching a TV program, and suddenly I wake up and realize I missed half of it. But that's it. And I've got a lot of energy. People say, just if they just listen to me talk or whatever, they say I don't sound like I'm 83. I mean, it's just quite a difference. And it's owning life. That's the key. If you don't want to wait to get a hat till we have the store in the app, you get these hats made anywhere. I mean, virtually any place I've ever been, there's places where you can get hats made.
All right.
Well, if you don't have any more questions, I guess we're about ready to go have lunch.
Last question. Do you have any? Maybe Caroline. Okay, guys, thank you very much. So if there is no other question, oh, you,
Oh, there we go.
Doug, please.
Good to see you, Carolyn.
You too.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. See you next week. The same time, the same link. Kisses, thank you. Bye, bye, bye. Good night.
Hey, Jana, one last tip. They want to get off to a fast start. Get someone to come to the Zoom training with them next week.
Once again,
Have someone come with them to the Zoom training next week.
yeah,
Someone
sure,
else.
for sure.
Yeah.
Invite somebody else.
You got it. Hey, well, good seeing everybody and have a great weekend.
Yeah, thank you.